ready to eat. And we had some chocolates, right? And we're gonna put the dressing.
I have to say, okay, so the other reason I really made the leap to 100% raw is because I got in a bicycle accident and I broke my ribs. And this was just at Christmas time. And so...
19, that was...
This was just 6 months ago, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, this was...
Oh, wow.
So I broke a few ribs and I got fluid in my lungs and I developed bronchitis, and it was just like, I was miserable, you know, I was in bed like, I had been training for a marathon, and I was like really active and starting to get better because I was eating a high raw diet, but not 100%. And so then once I broke my ribs, it was just like, I knew, I had no desire, I was just like, finally I knew that it was right for me to just eat these living foods so I could heal myself, you know? It wasn't so much a conscious thought, but it was just, again, just sort of intuitive, you know? It just seemed right. And I think, you know, my ribs healed within 5 weeks, which is pretty quick, and I feel like I definitely attribute that to partly the diet. But it was just been a progress, you know? So it wasn't like an immediate change for me. It took me a couple years to get to where I've been, you know. It wasn't like an overnight raw thing and then I was like a week later I was like, woo! Either like a cabbage leaf down and then another piece of lettuce down and then whip up whatever I have in the kitchen and put it in a food processor, just nuts with dulse and with lime juice and with chop up some celery, maybe some grapes, and it kind of like a pate, you know, with various spices. Just, you know, you know what spices you like, what oregano, and I throw in cumin and some paprika, and just kind of depending on what's there, you know. So it's usually, I don't ever measure anything out, or I stick to real recipes, but throw in something like that, put some nut or seeds, maybe either some soaked almonds or some soaked sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, just depending on what I have. And then if I have some avocado, put some avocado in there, some of the lettuce, maybe some julienne, other veggies. Really, yeah, just look in the fridge and see what's fresh, and then wrap that all up. I mean, it's a classic raw, you know, raw wrap. So you just wrap that all up in the nori roll, and I often make them too big for one nori sheet. So I wrap it in one nori sheet, and then I put another nori sheet on top, and then wrap it again. It's like this huge burrito style, and then cut it in half. Super tasty. Can make a can't truly love somebody until you love yourself. So for me, you know, and it is true. And so for me right now, I'm still working on that, you know, completing me with me and not trying to find somebody else who's going to fill these gaps for me and be this thing that I want to be. And if I want a man to be something or do something, then I need to be or do that myself. I can't choose somebody who's like, oh, I want a man who's successful, who, you know, says things correctly, opens my door, whatever, is courteous. It's like, okay, well then I need to be that. You know, I don't need to find somebody who does that for me, you know? So I have to first look at, so whatever I'm deciding I want to find in another person, I can kind of reflect on that and say, oh, well, clearly that's what I want for myself, you know? So I'm just working on being the best that I can be for me, not for anybody else. And then I think once because you attract the kind of people who are at the same spiritual level as you are, right?
Right.
And who are, so right now I'm just working on bringing myself up to a level to where then I know I can attract the kind of person that I already am, and consequently what I want to find, you know? Sauce to put in there, I mean...
What's your sauce?
There's various, I mean, I like to, depending on what kind of where I'm going, either a sun-dried tomato type
How do you make
base. Well, sun-dried tomato and then fresh tomatoes and then maybe some mustard seeds and some pepper and salt and I'm trying to think of an exact recipe.
No oil, huh?
Usually I don't use too much oil, so I might put in some seeds every now and then. When I am active is when I feel at my best, and it can sometimes get into this vicious cycle where when you're not feeling well, then you tend to not be very active, and then when you're not active, you tend to not feel very well. So it's hard to get that process started, and I go in and out, and there's months and months where I'll just be like on it and every day, and then something will come up and I'll either vacation or something, and I'll kind of get out of my routine, and then it takes me. But I love to run. I find it very meditative. What I wanted to learn. So it's taken me a while to figure out that naturopathy school was the route that I really wanted to take. And it's been years that I have been going back and forth. I was like, oh, it's so expensive. I'm not sure if I can invest all that time. But it's now it just came to me from various reasons, but that I wanted to become a naturopath. It's like the perfect combination of helping people who are find wellness, who are either sick, or maybe people who don't even consider themselves to be sick people, because so many people are living day to day with these symptoms that they consider to be normal, like having lack of energy, fatigue.